All right, thank you so much. All right, we are going to start. Yeah, you'll want to put down your coffee because we're going to start with a competition. We are going to see who the master meter in this room is going to be. So I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to meet as many people as you can. Keep that number in your head. Come on in, come on in. Keep that number in your head. We're going to find out who the master meter is in this room. All right, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Meet as many people as you can. Keep that number in your head. Ready, set, go. Three, two, one, and time. Stop meeting people. Stop meeting people. All right, keep that number in your head. This time, we're going to go round number 2. This time, I still want you to meet as many people as you can, but there is one person in this room that has a smiley face drawn on their hand somewhere. I want you to try and find that person. Don't start looking yet. If you find that person, don't be a spoiled sport and yell it out for everyone. We're going to reveal that person at the end. All right? So try and meet people. Find the person that has the smiley face on their hand. Huh? You yourself not having smiling face in your All right, 3, 2, 1, and time. Okay, if you found that person, keep it to yourself. We're going to reveal the final person in a minute. Okay, this is our third and final round. This time, I want you to greet someone as if you are reuniting with a long-lost friend. Greet someone as if you are reuniting with a long-lost friend. Ready, set, go. Ah! Three, 2, 1, and time. Okay, you all may have a seat. All right, friends. What was our first challenge? Meet as many people as you could. Okay, let's see who the master meter was. If you met 5 or more people, raise your hand. 7, 9, 10. Wow, okay, 3-way tie. How many did you meet? 10, 10, 9. All right, 2-way tie. There you go, very good. Master meters. Okay, so can you tell me the names of the people that you met? Yeah? All right. You wrote them down. Ah, I've been doing this for a long time. You were the first person to do that. Well done. Very good. Tell me, just generally, what was your approach to this challenge? Hello, 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 hi, 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 hi. I saw some people, they came in, they barely touched my pinky. Oh, hi, hi. Yeah, very much so. We have this temptation even whenever we come to conferences like this, right? We come in, there's so many people we want to meet. And so sometimes it looks like this. Hi, 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 hello, hello, hello. Okay, let's go. You see this happen whenever we take on projects. Sometimes a new client, there's so many people. And so yes, it is quantity over quantity, yes.
Actually, I have a habit of forgetting people's names. That's the reason.
You wrote them down. Very impressed. Actually get those connections, yes. Now, tell me, how was this approach different from the second challenge? What was the second challenge? Find the person with the smiley face drawn on their hand. Okay, if you are the person with the smiley face drawn on your hand, please stand up. How is this approach different than the first one? Slowed down. You had a bit of a purpose, yes. I saw some people, you know who you were, that were not actually meeting people. You were doing this. You didn't really, you said, hey, do you have that on your hand? No, okay, all right, let's go somewhere else. Hey, do you have that? Oh, okay, no, all right. I'm not gonna say hi, I'm gonna keep on going. You don't have the thing that I want. I'm not going to spend time actually building that relationship with you. We see this happen at events like this in life, right? Hi, do you have the one thing I need? No? See you. Here, I had some people say, hey, do you know the person that may have the, right? So there's an approach. You may not have this one thing. Do you have something else? Right? There are other resources, other ways that we can connect. Now, how is this different from the third approach? The third, reuniting with a long-lost friend. Yeah, did you meet as many people? No. Spend a little bit more time? We saw some more contact, some more connection. Yeah, I saw some people from across the room. Hi. We're building those deeper connections. Whenever we talk about emotional intelligence, part of this is connecting with ourselves and connecting with other people. We know that EQ is important. In fact, Stanford finds that 75% of job success in tech positions specifically, it's influenced by EQ. EQ is the way that we process our emotions, right? And the way that we behave. Only 25% attributed to technical skills. There's a friend of mine who's the IT director of KPM, says success of the next tech professional is less about ability to deliver, more about ability to discover. You all have had a chance to meet one another. Let me introduce myself. My name is Amber Vanderburg, and I am the founder of the Pathways Group. So we are an international leadership development company. We've worked with over 1 million leaders in over 75 countries around the world. And one thing that we found as we work in leadership development with tech professionals is a major opportunity to elevate our skills in things like communication, team building, and of course, EQ. In fact, this is a part of an EQ in tech certification that we have. So one thing that we found is in these relationships, in these experiences that we have, there is data that is being input into our life, right? The relationships, the things that are said, the things that we hear, the experiences we have, all of that is data being put into our lives. Now, we don't get to choose every bit of data to input into our lives. Everybody has bad data at some point input into our lives, but we do get to choose how we process this, how we code this into our lives. And so we have an EQ programming model. So the EQ programming model looks a little something like this. We have data, so these are the experiences, the relationships, the things that are input into our lives that are impacted by our data and our values. These are the things that we hold dear to us. Our data and our values impact the stories that we tell ourselves. This is our self-talk. Now, that self-talk helps drive the emotions, right? The emotions that spark within us. Those emotions impact the behavior that we have, which of course impact the final results that we have within our lives, within our teams, and within our organizations. So let's look at this in more depth. So let's look at our data and our values from a work perspective. So within my company, we are, as I said, we're an international organization. We have people from all over the world. Just this morning, I had a meeting with people from my team that are in the Philippines, that are in Italy, that are in Germany, and are in the US, and I'm here in India. That's a lot of time zones. From those experiences of somebody at some point having to stay up late or get up early to have these meetings, we know that it is important and it's a value in our team that we come to meetings on time, because it's a way that we show respect to everyone within our team, getting up late, staying up early. Now, this data and these stories, they impact the expectations that we have within our team. That's an example of a behavioral expectation. We also have outcomes-based expectations. Let me give an example. At the end of our learning journeys, usually about 3 months to up to 2 years, we're working with companies, we have reports that we put out that show the impact, right? We have to show that we have had a positive impact within the team. And so there's an expectation based off of our data and our values that those reports have certain details, that they're well organized, and that they're accurate, right? And so that's an example of a outcomes-based expectation. Now, everybody has both behavioral and outcomes expectations within our work teams. This is based on the data and the values that we have. We have some people that they may more value that quicker delivery. Other people may have a greater value of the quality of that delivery, right? So you're seeing those differences in values within our teams. One thing that I find is many times those unmet expectations come from uncommunicated expectations, right? So I have different data within my life. I have different stories, different values that I have, and we have had a disconnect. So I'm going to share one example of an activity that I'll do whenever I'm working with a new team, whenever we're starting a new project, whenever we're working with a new client. And so here's what I want you to do. At your table, you have a piece of paper and a pencil. And I want you to think about the expectations that you have within your working relationship, okay? It could be behavioral based, like coming to meetings on time. It could also be more outcomes based. I'm going to give you 20 seconds per box. I'm going to have you draw 8 boxes, and I want you to draw or write an expectation that you have, okay? So, for example, for coming to meetings on time, I may draw a simple clock. Right? For the report, I may draw a simple report. If the drawing part is really messing with you that much, you can just write the word. Okay? I'm more concerned about the expectation being communicated. Okay? All right. You are only going to have 20 seconds per box. Whenever I say next, you'll move to the next box and draw a different expectation. At the end, we're going to have 8 expectations. What questions do you have for me? Yes, 8 different expectations at the end.
If you're going to list what the native expectation is?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll more than likely have a mix of both. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Okay, don't start yet. All right, take a minute. You can draw your 8 boxes. All right. On your mark, get set, draw. Okay, next box. Next box. Next box. Next box. You're on to the next one. This is when it starts getting a little challenging. Next box. Box number 7. And final box. Three, 2, 1, and time. Okay, give me some feedback, fist to 5. 5 being Amber, that was pretty easy. I could have come up with 3 or 4 more expectations. 0 being Amber, that was the worst experience of my life. I'm ready to run out of this room. How was that experience? 4s, 5s. From this group, I would expect 4s and 5s. This is good. If you are doing this, you put your hand down. If you are doing this with your team and you're seeing only mostly 2s and 3s, we need to have a bigger conversation, right? I have done this with teams that they go, I don't know what the expectations are. I drew the first 2 and then I got stuck, right? That happens within teams. So this is good that you at least, that you know what those expectations are to begin with, okay? My goal here is I should have around at least 5 or more areas of similarity with expectations, right? So I may have a few that are different, but if I have 8 completely different expectations from the other person in my group, from the client that I'm working with, we need to have a deeper conversation to make sure that we have some more similarity, right? So I might have a few that are different, but the majority need to be on the same page. Okay? It's from these types of conversations that I can then parlay into a more proactive conversation, right? So a proactive conversation looks a little something like this. Hey, these are my expectations. These are your expectations. We're getting on the same page. At some point in our working relationship, there may be tension. These expectations may not be met. I may fail you. There may be heat. There may be tension. While the emotions are low now, let us discuss how we're going to respond and how we're going to handle that situation before it actually arises. From conversations like this, you're able to have a game plan before the tension actually happens. This helps to combat one of the most challenging aspects of having feedback conversations and having conversations about disagreement, and that is the fundamental attribution error. The fundamental attribution error is really a fancy way of saying, many times it's tempting to judge somebody by their outcomes while judging ourselves by our intentions. We see this happen in this picture. Somebody shows up late. Clearly, they slept in, they're lazy, they don't care about the meeting. We start thinking of all these things. But if we're late for the meeting, there was traffic. This is Bangalore, there's plenty of it. We start thinking of our intentions. We didn't mean to. I was working with one team that had a person in the team that people said, Amber, when this person speaks at meetings, they are abrupt. They are abrasive. Some even said malicious. And so we kept the fundamental attribution error in mind and asked, what is your intention whenever you speak at meetings? And he said, Amber, I'm intending to be passionate. I'm intending to be persuasive. And so we found that there was a disconnect between the intended behavior and the perceived behavior. And by understanding that more, we were able to bring the two closer together. So we're keeping this fundamental attribution error in mind and having these proactive conversations. A proactive conversation can be more interpersonal. So even within my team, I am more of a big picture, visionary type of person. There are people in my team that are very detail-oriented. That is by design, right? We need people in our team that are detail-oriented. We'll have a conversation to say, hey, at some point, my lack of details is going to cause tension, right? Your consistent focus on the details may cause tension. So let us figure out how we're going to handle that situation whenever it comes up. You can also look at this from a larger level. So I was working with one team that they, as a group, their past experiences, the data in this group was they had some challenges in making decisions in a timely manner, right? It was paralysis by analysis times a million. They had another big project coming up. The value that they had was making the right decision, but the story they were telling themselves was, we're not very good at making these decisions. And so we said, let's implement the Elmo technique. We're going to time box this. 10 minutes to define the problem, 5 minutes to define a solution, you have final remarks, and then Elmo, which stood for enough, let's move on. Depending on the scenario, we would alter those time boxes, right? So sometimes it was 30 minutes, right? It was time box. This was able to provide a structure for the team in their decision making. And it helped us adapt more of a growth mindset. Whenever it comes to emotional intelligence, having a growth mindset is so critical for us to continuously get better. And that one shift we can make in our self-talk, in the stories that we tell ourselves, is I am and you are statements. With this interpersonal proactive conversation, I went from I am bad at details to I'm continuously working on details. This group went from you are bad at making decisions to we are getting better. Right? I'm not good at coding. That is fixed. There's no opportunity and room for growth here. Versus, I'm still learning coding, and with more practice, I am getting better, a little bit better. We find these I am and you are statements. Now, this is not always on the negative. I am and you are statements on the positive can also impact more of a fixed mindset, right? If I'm saying, oh, you are a natural with databases, then what happens whenever I am challenged with databases? I may tell myself, well, I'm not good at that anymore. Instead, say, you have worked hard to become skilled with this. We look at the attributes. Adapting this growth mindset, getting 1% better every single time. Now, this takes practice, right? It takes practice. I think of a friend of mine that came to me one day and he presented me with this challenge. Took me a minute, so I'm going to present you the challenge as well. He said, Amber, I'm going to tell you what not to do first. And he said, first things first, no double thumbs up. We're not doing double thumbs up. I said, okay. And he said, okay. Double pointer fingers. It's rude to point. We're not doing double pointer fingers. I said, okay. And he said, third, no finger guns. Gun-free zone, putting that away. Okay, no double thumbs up, no pointer fingers, no. Okay. He said, this is what I want you to do. 1 thumbs up, 1 pointer finger. You know where this is going. And he said, switch, 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 switch. You can try. I said, I can't do this. This is so challenging. But I took it slowly, little by little, even slower than this. I failed at it. I was not very good. But over time, I was able to come to him and said, I know how to do this, right? And he said, no, you're doing this. Little by little, I was able to get better. I found that there was power in the word yet. I couldn't do that yet. But with practice, I was able to improve and it really becomes second nature. And I say that to say I am and you are statements can be uncomfortable. It takes practice to be able to do it yet. Find that EQ is a muscle. So looking at this programming model, we looked at the data and the values that are input into our lives. The way that we code that, the way that we process that, impacts the self-talk that we tell, right? These are the stories that we tell ourselves. We're working with one team, and the individual has a background, the data that's been put into their lives. They had a toxic boss. They had a micromanaging boss. was not good to them. That's their experience. The value that they have is someone who pours into their professional development. They want to get better. And so now they go to a new company. They get a new boss. And the boss comes to them and they correct their work. Okay. Think about the stories that might be told here. Again, you don't get to choose all of the data input into your life. You do have a choice on how we process this. So the person could decide, wow, here we go again. Somebody else correcting my work, looking at everything that I'm doing. It's the same situation as before. They might say, man, it's the second boss that's correcting my work. Maybe I'm not good at this. They might say, wow, this is someone that does care about my development and they're providing me insight so that I can get better. I have different opportunities to choose the story that I tell. And this is going to impact the emotions that we feel, right? The emotions that we have. So whenever I have a high emotion, I'll pause and ask myself, what has led me to this emotion? Right? Right? This is what has led me to this emotion. Now, these experiences that we have, they're only as good as the time spent reflected upon them. So I am going to take time and say, well, how does that experience, that bad boss, impact the mindset I'm going to have and the stories I'm going to have as I go into this new role? And while I'm taking that time to process that, to be in a good state, to go into that new role, we also are working with other people that also have other experiences being brought into this working relationship. And so we want to make sure that we're listening for intent. We're listening for meaning. What is the fact? What is the feeling that is driving this emotion, driving this self-talk, driving this conversation? Whenever we talk about empathy, these are the exact two things we're going to look for. Now, there's a humility that comes with using empathetic statements, because I may be wrong in one or both. Seeing some yeses. I could be correct in the fact that is driving this emotion, but misinterpreting what exact emotion you're feeling. I could be correct in the emotion that I'm interpreting, but incorrect in the fact that is driving that. So let's look at an example. Somebody comes to me and they say, Amber, this process change is a waste of time. It's just more red tape. It's causing more lag times. It's going to impact our deadline. The client won't be happy, and it's all easily avoided. All right, throw out some things. What are some possible feelings that this person could be feeling? Frustration. Huh? Stress. Stress for missing the deadline. Yes, we'll get to the fact in a minute. Yeah. So stress, frustration, concern, rage. It's easily avoided. Despair. Yes. I could say, no, it's not any of that. I'm overwhelmed. I feel unheard. Well, I told them that this wasn't going to work, and they didn't listen to me. We don't know. All right, so it could be this, could be frustration, could be stress, could be overwhelmed, could be rage, could feel unsupported. What are some possible facts here? What could be driving this? The deadline is one. Top down, customer satisfaction. Previous experiences, we've done this before, it doesn't work. Absolutely. The reality is we don't know. So I'm going to take the information I know and check for my understanding. So we could say, it sounds like you're frustrated because the client won't be happy with this, whatever it is. Now, this is the most common mishap that I see with a great empathy statement. After we say an empathy statement, we have to keep in mind that we may not know. We have to give the person a chance to say, yes, I do feel frustrated because the client won't feel happy. Or, yes, I feel frustrated, but it's not just because of the client. It's because we already, it's because of this, this, and that. And so after I give an empathy statement to check for the fact and the feeling, I'm going to pause. Friends, there is power in a pause. As I hear an empathy statement, hey, it sounds like you're frustrated because the client satisfaction may be impacted. And I get it, I've been here before and I'm going to help you work through this, and we keep on talking. We've missed a powerful pause for the person to either correct or confirm our interpretation. We have a powerful pause here. Now, we use this powerful pause. It sounds like you're frustrated because of this process change. Yes, I am frustrated because of the process change. Now I know how to navigate that situation. Navigating a conversation with someone who is feeling frustrated versus rage versus unsupported is 3 very different scenarios. The success of my navigation of this conversation is going to depend on my accurate interpretation of this fact and feeling. So the first common mishap I see with an empathy statement is the lack of a powerful pause. The second mishap I see is erasing the empathy statement. How can we erase an empathy statement using one word? That is the word. Yes. Yeah. But or however, either way. Yeah. It sounds like you're frustrated because of this process change. But, this process change is necessary and it's going to save time in the long run. And we have now negated the empathy statement. So, what do we do to transition from an empathy statement into more of a practical conversation? Ask a question. Use and yes. We can have the person state the positives, yes. Yes, how can I help you? We can also pause. So listen to how this may sound different, right? It sounds like you're frustrated because of this process change, but we have the resources to help you navigate this change, and you don't have to do this by yourself. Okay. Listen to how this sounds different. It sounds like you're frustrated because of this process change. Pause. Yes, I am frustrated because of the process change. We have some resources that are here to help, right? So then we can offer that support, state the positives, how can I help, right? So that transition statement, there's a pause. So we're replacing that but with, again, a powerful, powerful pause. It's that moment to say, hey, I understand you. Okay, so a common question I get is, how long is the ideal pause? $10 seconds? Until they respond? We will wait here till the end of our time. So it does depend on the person. MIT found that pausing for just 2 seconds before responding in a conversation can increase trust by 40%. And the reason why is because it says, hey, I understand you. It lets the person know I'm listening to understand and not listen to respond. Now, for some people, that may be longer, right? It may be 5, 7 seconds for some people, right? So we're gonna wait for that response. The reason why I share this stat is not to give you an exact number, it's to share that it doesn't take a lot of time. Just a short amount of time can be very powerful, make a very big difference, okay? We know that in that high trust relationship, even if we say the wrong thing, people can still get your meaning. Right? Again, thinking back to that fundamental attribution error, I'm assuming positive intent. And in a low trust relationship, you can say the exact right thing, and the story that we're telling can still be wrong. That boss, that new boss that comes in and offers helpful correcting advice, if I still have that low trust from that previous relationship, that previous boss, it still can come off wrong. Right? So we want to make sure that we're building that trust, okay? So some people, there are triggers, right? Let me rephrase. Everybody has triggers, right, at some point. So triggers within this world may look something like this. Well, it works on my machine. Just need to add a few more features, it's fine. You can do that, right? It'll be easy. We don't need documentation for this. You just need to change a few lines of code. As I'm saying this, I am seeing some of your faces, like the grit come in. Oh, don't love this, right? So it's many times in these scenarios that I hear someone say, hey, and even myself, I say, I need to take a minute. I need to walk away for just a minute. How many of you have taken time to walk away for a minute to cool off? But let's be real, what we're really doing is getting that perfect comeback, coming up with the great response. And what we find is rather than cooling down, we're actually getting much more excited, right, in what we're saying. That time is spent for more emotional build. And this is where we find this, yes, on one-on-one conversations. We also find this more on a larger scale. I'm experiencing burnout, so I take a few days off for vacation. I come back. It's still the same thing. Friends, your time off won't heal you. The trouble is how you're spending time off. And so whenever you take that time, you concentrate on how you're processing that emotion. So what is this emotion? What are the stories that have led to this? What are the experiences and the values that have led to this? As I understand this, I can communicate it. I can understand myself and communicate it with the people I interact with. This impacts our behavior, right? The way that we tell these stories, and of course impacts our results. Now, it's often at these times someone says, okay, but Amber, I'm continuously working on getting better. I have some people in my team that we have some challenging EQ conversations, right? I can't change the other person's EQ. I can only change my response. So how can I respond? What are some things that I can do? There's some practical things here. We can manage our expectations, right? So if we get to know the person, we can get to know the person, understand where they are. Remember, you may be here. Other person is still saying not yet. We're working on this, little by little. This is a muscle, okay? You can set some boundaries as appropriate, right, in a work relationship. If the person is open to it, and only if they are open to it, you can offer some coaching and facilitation. There's some resources that are available. And also model that positive EQ within your life as well, right? Here we're saying, I reserve the right to be better tomorrow than I am today. Friends, everyone has the opportunity to get better in EQ. I'm working on it. Okay? And in the same way that muscles, they don't automatically get better. We have to continuously put forth that effort. I'm not going to get it right every time. Within my team, they've heard me say it time and again. We did this before. We missed the mark here. We're going to reserve the right to be better. Sometimes I hear people say, oh, we didn't lose, we learned. That question does not have weight unless there's an important question that comes after it. What did we learn? How did we get better? We're going to get 1% better every single day. Now, I find whenever we talk about emotional intelligence, we're looking at not only our understanding and the way we're processing our emotions, it's also the way we're interacting with other people. There's a natural comparison that can happen. Sometimes I've done this with some teams and you're, well, Amber, it's compared to other people, ours isn't so bad. If we can be more like them, then we'll actually be better. Okay, and so you see that comparison. Everyone is on their own journey and you have your own unique experiences. Everyone has their own unique experiences and values within your life. And so there's a personalization and a customization to this to help you relate to people on a way that I can't. This is why we have a variety of connections within our lives. So, I love this, yeah, from Satya Nadella. To innovate, emotional intelligence is what makes technology truly impactful. Been able to speak with several of you already throughout this time. It's been great to meet everyone. Some of you have heard this is my first time back here in India since I used to live here across the street on Richmond Road. Whenever I came here about a decade ago, I was brought to an open field, an open pitch, not too far from here. I was the only female, I was the only American, I was the only Christian football coach for Adidas Game Day Academy and Paris Saint-Germain Academy. So they were expanding in India. CEO picked me up, took me out to an open field and said, your job is to fill this place with people and help India become a great football nation. No small task, it's fine. At that time, again, this was a decade ago, we were bringing in coaches from all over the world. We had coaches from France, from Australia, from Brazil, from various places in the UK, all over Europe, American football, touchdown. It was easy to want to try and be. I heard many times, we're going to learn the French way to play football. We're going to learn the Australian way to play football. But you know what we found? What we needed to learn was the Indian way to play football because there are strengths and there is competitive advantage and there are some wonderful things about Indian football that you can't get anywhere else. It's unique to here. We found as we were learning, as we were establishing these academies, there was a unique Indian style of play that had a competitive advantage as we were playing internationally. Today, a decade later, there are systems and there are processes in place to develop athletic talent here that we could only dream of a decade ago. And that's from the ownership and the vision and the discipline of people here. But that didn't happen just by accident. It first came from understanding the data, the experiences that shaped culture here, right? The values that shaped the style of play here, the stories and the way that we impacted, the way that we interacted here. There's this economic theory called the economic convergence theory, and it says that, you can look on this organizationally and globally, that developing companies, developing countries will develop at a faster pace than already developed. And they will develop at a faster pace up into a point. Then they'll become good enough to play, but not truly good enough to compete unless, and this is where our team did so good, unless there is a transition from imitation to innovation. We learn from other places and then we say, where can we innovate? Where can we be better? And then the competition continues to soar. This is what we found within our teams here. And there is just vision for what can happen with, I know we're in tech here, there's vision for what can happen with Indian sports, and I'm so excited. Friends, I encourage you, learn from other people. Let those learn from those. But the success of these teams, the success of these players come from understanding the data that impacts the experiences that impact our lives, understanding the values and what makes that unique, helping to make a strong connection, understanding the stories that help shape how we interact and how we behave, the emotion that goes behind that, the way that impacts our behaviors, and it can result in something amazing. I want to thank you all for so much for your time spent today. The impact of EQ is a way that we can connect with other people, understand ourselves, and understand others, and truly change our world. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.